Good day, everyone. So this is the continuation of our discussion about the historical period, no, of science and technology. So we are done discussing the pre-colonial period, no, which discuss or defines the early Filipino culture, no, or way of living ng mga pre-colonial Filipinos natin. So this um, lecture will focus on the colonization part. Okay? I will be discussing two countries that colonized the Philippines, no? And their influence and impact in our country. So first is the Spanish colonization between 1521 and 1898. Okay, so the colonization of Spaniards is led by the Portuguese-born Spanish explorer Ferdinand Magellan. Okay, um, in-explore nila yung part ng Philippines. Okay, so noong March 16, 1521, sila ay dumating sa isla ng Homonhon Island sa Cebu, and that island is kiniklaim ng mga Spaniards na part ng Spain. Okay? Claiming the islands he saw for Spain and naming them Islas de San Lazaro. Take note of that. Okay? And he established, when they arrived, he established friend relations with some of the local leaders, yung mga raha-raha natin doon sa Humonhon, which is si Raha Humabon, and converted some of them to Roman Catholicism. Kasi nga, aside from power, ang isa sa mga goal ng mga Spaniards is to impose their religion. Okay? So, Magellan explored many islands, including the island of Mactan. However, Magellan was killed in a battle he led there against Lapu-Lapu, one of the Datu, okay, in the Philippines. So, over the next several decades, other Spanish expeditions were dispatched to the island. So, umalis na rin sila. In 1543, Ruy Lopez de Villalobos led an expedition to the islands and gave name Las Islas Filipinas. Take note of this. After Philip II of Spain, yung dahilan kung bakit Las Islas Filipinas to the islands of Samar and Leyte. The name was extended to the entire archipelago in the 20th century. So ibinigay na si Pilipinas tuluyan. Okay? Isa sa mga symbolic na bagay na nag-symbolize ng pagdating nila Magellan sa Cebu is itong Magellan's Cross. Okay, dun sa plaza ng Cebu. This Christian cross is planted by Portuguese and Spanish explorers as ordered by their leader, Ferdinand Magellan, nung dumating sila sa Cebu noong 1521. So this is a sign below the cross describes the original cross. So, yung original na kahoy, na cross, na itinarak doon sa lupa o sa land ng Cebu is nasa loob ng krus na to. Okay, yung original. Okay, so para maprotektahan siya sa pagkasira. Okay? So, again, napaka-vital ng role na ginawa nila Lapu-Lapu, no, kung bakit niya napatay si Magellan. So Lapu-Lapu was a ruler of Mactan. He is a Datu. Okay? Siya yung kauna-unahang lumaban sa pagsakop sa atin ng mga Spaniards. Okay? So, I am not discussing kung paano siya nanalo at paano niya napatay si Magellan. Basta, during the battle, Magellan and several of his men were killed nung naka-encuentro nila si Lapu-Lapu. So, napaka-historical din nung battle na nangyari sa Mactan. This was fought on April 27, 1521. Okay? So, of course, this was led by Lapu-Lapu, head of Mactan, ay na-overpower nila yung Spanish. Okay? Okay, so these are the three reasons for colonization ng mga Spaniards. God, gold, glory, or 3 Gs na tinatawag. So God, kasi nga gusto nilang ma-impose yung religion nila, which is Christianity. Okay? And isa pa sa mga dahilan nila, napakayaman kasi ng Pilipinas pagdating sa mga mineral deposits, specifically gold. Okay? And alam niyo na ba ang labanan ng gold that time? And glory. Okay? Mga pamunuan nila, no, ang bansang Pilipinas. So, these are, if we are trying to look at the good side of what happened during Spanish colonization, ito po yun. These are the Spanish contribution. Okay, yung mga matatandang simbahan natin dito sa Pilipinas. Yung paniniwala natin, of course, kay God. Okay? Pagdating sa mga saints, sa mga feast, sa Santo Niño. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the challenges to Spanish authority, or ito yung mga naging tinik sa lalamunan ng mga Spaniards nung dumating din sila dito sa Pilipinas. So, first is Tondo Conspiracy. Okay, ito yung mga samahan, mga pag-aalsa. Okay? This was a plot against Spanish colonial rule by the Tagalog and Kapampangan, nobleman, or yung mga warriors nila, kasama ang kanilang mga dato. Okay? Of Manila and some towns of Bulacan and Pampanga. So, this Tondo Conspiracy was led by Agustin de Legazpi. Siya ang apo ni Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Okay? So, ang goal ng Tondo Conspiracy is ma-overthrow yung Spanish colonization or Spanish government sa Pilipinas. Kasi nga, marami silang mga nakikitang injustices against the Filipinos. Next is Francisco Dagohoy. So, he was a Filipino revolutionary who holds the distinction of having initiated pinakamahabang pag-aalsa sa Philippine history, or Dagohoy Rebellion na tinatawag. Ganun din, kagaya sa Tondo Conspiracy, gusto nilang mapalitan or matanggal yung Spanish ruling, no, sa government. Okay? Pero ito ay nangyari sa island ng Bohol. Okay? 85 years nagtagal itong Dagohoy Rebellion. Next is Tamblot Uprising, also known as the Tamblot Revolution. This was led by Tamblot. He is a babaylan or native priest, no, sa isla ng Bohol. And religious concern naman ito. May religious conflict itong uprising na to. Tamblot exhorted his people to return to the faith of their forefathers and free themselves from Spanish oppression. Okay? Kasi gusto niyang mapanatili yung paniniwala ng mga ninuno natin before sa mga turo sa atin ng mga elders sa society. Okay? Diego Silang y Andaya, he was a Filipino revolutionary leader who allied with British forces. No, katulong niya dito ang British government para ma-overthrow yung Spanish colonization or Spanish ruling dito sa Philippines, specifically Northern Philippines, kasi Ilocano ito. Next is Suez Canal. So, ano yung specific contribution or impact ng Suez Canal sa Spanish colonization? Nung nagbukas kasi ang Suez Canal, ito ito yung nagbigay daan sa mga foreign traders to do business with many countries. Pilipinas ang isa sa mga nag-benefit nung ito ay nag-open. Ano? Napaka-vital kasi ng role ng Suez Canal, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, hindi sa buong mundo when it comes to trading. Diba? So, dito kasi sila nagkaroon ng panibagong idea and knowledge, kapalitan ng idea and knowledge sa iba't ibang mga Western countries, hindi lang ang Spain. Okay? So, dito, sabihin na natin nagbukas, no, yung kaisipan ng mga Pilipino, nagkaroon ng bagong ideas and knowledge, no, tungkol sa mga bagay-bagay. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila nakakulong lang doon sa ruling na meron ang mga Spaniards and sa kultura na meron lang ang Pilipinas. Gomburza. Okay? So, very remarkable din, no, yung contributions ng mga paring ito. So, tinatawag silang tatlong paring martir. Okay? Who are publicly garroted as alleged leaders of Cavite Conspiracy. So, itong Cavite Conspiracy na to is a movement of secularization and nationalism na pinakaayaw ng mga Spaniards. Okay? So, again, this is Jose Padre Burgos, Mariano Gomez, and Jacinto Zamora. Jose Rizal, okay? So, siya ang nag-enlighten sa atin sa kanyang propaganda about injustices ng Spanish colonial government. Okay? And siya rin ang may akda ng mga nobela na Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which greatly inspired the movement of independence ng Pilipinas. Andres Bonifacio. The Katipunan, it is a secret society whose primary purpose was that of overthrowing Spanish ruling in the Philippines, no? And pinanimumunuan ito ni Supremo, ni Andres Bonifacio. Okay, so the Philippine Revolution began in 1896. Rizal was wrongly accused of implication in the outbreak of the revolution, and unfortunately, he is executed for treason in 1896. Okay, next. American period. So, kung titignan natin, kung babalansihin din natin, medyo napaka-beneficial ng pag-colonize sa atin ng mga Amerikano. Because, dito gumanda yung government system na meron tayo. And as of today, no, meron pa rin tayong specific system sa government na we adapted it from the America. Okay? So, American period took place in 1901 and 1935. So, the Philippines are ours, not to exploit, but to develop, civilize, educate, and to train in the science of self-government by William McKinley. You see? Walang selfish, no? Yung claim ng US government sa atin kung bakit nila tayo sinako. Okay? So, kung tignan natin, this will be the content of American colonization, the Taft Commission, civil government, the Philippine Bill of 1902, Philippine Assembly, Resident Commissioners, the Philippinization of the government, the Jones Law of 1916, the Wood-Forbes Mission, and the Osrox Mission. I will be discussing just the highlight of this American colonial government. Okay? Okay, first is Taft Commission. This was created on March 16, 1900, also known as the Second Philippine Commission. It is headed by Judge William Howard Taft. Okay? And this commission is composed of these members: Luke E. Wright, Henry C. I., Dean C. Worcester, and Bernard Moses. So, ito po sila. These are the members of this commission, the Taft Commission. Okay? Led by Howard Taft. So, bakit in-establish itong Taft Commission na to? Okay? Ito ay parang magkaroon ng civil government dito sa Pilipinas. Okay? I-train ang mga Pilipino in self-government and guided by a set of instructions issued to it on April 7, 1900 by McKinley. Ito yung kauna-unahang goal nila. Kasi nga, 'di ba? Isa sa mga dahilan nila bakit tala tayo sinakop is to train us in science of self-government. Okay? And yun ang naging unang goal ng Taft Commission. Bear in mind that the government which they are establishing is designed not for our selfish satisfaction but for the happiness, peace, and prosperity of the people of the Philippine Islands. So, yan ang kanilang claim. Kaya nila tayo gustong i-train sa self-governance. So again, this Taft Commission arrived in Manila on June 3, 1900s. So sila ay nagpagawa ng mga buildings, nag-prepare ng mga roads and bridges dito sa Philippines, no? From 1900 to August 1902, 2 years, nakapag-enact sila ng 400 laws, okay, in protecting the rights of Filipino and their resources. September 1901, it was expanded to include 3 pro-American Filipino as members. Okay? So, in 1901, dito nagkaroon ng representative, Filipinong representative dito sa commission na to. So, sila si Trinidad H. Pardo de Vera, Benito Legarda, and Josilo Ziriaga. Okay? Next, this civil government, this was inaugurated on July 4, 1901. Ito yung in-establish ng Taft Commission. Remember that. Okay? So, William Howard Taft as the first civil governor in 1905. Governor General, Governor Taft exercised both executive and legislative functions. So, medyo sakop niya pa ang legislative function dito during this time kasi wala pa nga gaanong natitrain ng mga Filipino sa government system. His policy, the Philippines for the Filipinos, made him popular among the Filipinos. Kaya siya minahal ng mga Pilipino that time. Kasi nga, dahil sa kanyang unselfish claim. Okay? Na nandito lang sila sa Pilipinas to train Filipinos, and then pag okay na, sobrang trained na nila, alam nila yung mga gagawin is aalis na sila. Yun ang claim ng mga American. Okay? So, Taft served until December 1903. Meron siyang 2 years na pamamalakad. Ano? Then after that, Philippine Bill of 1902 by Cooper Act is enacted. Okay? This is sponsored by U.S. Representative Henry A. Cooper of Wisconsin. On July 1, 1902, the Philippine Bill of 1902 was passed by Congress. It created the Philippine Assembly. So, ibig sabihin, pag assembly, meron namang mga members dito na Pilipino. Okay? So, these are the key provisions of the Philippine Bill of 1902. Number 1, Bill of Right for the Filipino, karapatan ng mga Pilipino. Magkaroon ng 2 Pilipino na resident commissioners para i-represent ang Pilipinas sa US Congress. Okay? Pero wala silang right para bumoto. Nandun lang sila for the sake of Philippines. Okay? So, the establishment of a Philippine Assembly to be elected by the Filipinos 2 years after the publication of a census and only after peace has been completely restored in the country. The Philippine Assembly would be the lower house and the legislature, while the Philippine Commission would be the upper house. So, controlled pa rin ito ng mga Americans. Okay? Executive power would be exercised by the civil governor, which is Americans pa rin. Okay? Public information, finance, and justice, and commerce, and policy. So, makikita natin, hindi pa 100% binibitawan ng mga Amerikano yung mga bagay sa government system sa mga Pilipino. Okay? Conservation of the country's natural resources for the Filipinos. On July 30, 1907, the first free national elections were held in the Philippines for members of all the Filipino lawmaking body. Hundreds of candidates campaigned under many new political parties. 80 delegates won, most of them came from Nacionalista Party. So, ayan. So, inaugurated on October 16, 1907, the Manila Grand Opera House. This is Sergio Osmeña as the speaker. Manuel Quezon as a majority floor leader. This is the Philippine Assembly na nangyari. Okay. Again, so sabi ko nga, di ba, meron tayong 2 resident commissioners sa US Congress. Okay? Ito ay nire-represent ng Pilipino. So, anong ganap nila doon? They could speak out for or against any bill in Congress affecting the Philippines. So, again, ang primary concern nila is ang Pilipinas. So, sila, si Benito Legarda and Pablo Ocampo, ang naging resident commissioners natin, and Manuel L. Quezon arrived and served from 1909 to 1916. Considered one of the greatest Filipino resident commissioners, so naging resident commissioner siya, and spoke out strongly against those they considered harmful to Filipino interest. Now, Philippinization of the government. So, pag sinabi natin Philippinization of the government, yung kung paano tayo unti-unting binitawan ng mga Amerikano. Okay? So, ito yung mga naging way. America made it a policy to appoint qualified Filipinos to government positions. Kasi nga, gusto na nilang ibigay paunti-unti yung mga positions sa government sa mga Pilipino. A number of prominent Filipinos were named to high positions. Look at this. In 1903, there were more Americans, counts 2,777 in the government, and 2,697 lang ang Pilipino. But in 1904, a year after, the number rose to 3,377 compared to 3,228 Americans. So dumami na yung mga na-appoint ng mga Pilipino sa government. Okay? Like for example, si Cayetano Arellano was named Chief of Justice of the Philippine Supreme Court. Florentino Torres became Attorney General. Gregorio Araneta was named Secretary of Finance and Justice. Kung makikita nyo dito, doble-doble pa yung kanilang mga pamumuno. Ano? So, Jones Law of 1916, this is signed by President Woodrow Wilson on August 29, 1916, also known as the Philippine Autonomy Act. This is sponsored by U.S. Representative William Atkinson Jones of Virginia. It contained Americans' promise to give independence to the Philippines. Ang isa sa mga goal ng law na to is to give the Filipinos greater participation in the government. Gusto nilang mapataas pa yung bilang ng mga Pinoy na nagpa-participate sa government system ng Pilipinas. It defined the structure of the government, the powers and duties of the officials, and provided for a Bill of Rights for the Filipinos. This is Woodrow Wilson and William Atkinson Jones. Okay, so ito yung nilalaman ng Jones Law. Executive power, of course, hindi pa rin yung bibitawan ng Amerika. Governor General dyan, Amerikano pa rin. Appointed by the President of the United States. Okay, yung magiging Governor General natin dito. Ito yung laman ng Jones Law. Legislative power, puro Pilipino dapat. Okay, so, di ba, medyo nagkakaroon na ng participation, greater participation ng Pilipino. And this law created two houses. The lower house and upper house, yung kilala natin ngayon. Okay? Sa lower house, ito yung House of Representatives, consists of congressmen and representatives from districts in the Philippines, and the Philippine Senate as the upper house. Of course, puro mga senador. Okay? Judicial power. Okay, nagkaroon na ng branches yung government dito. It consists of Chief Justice, Filipino, dapat. Dahil na nabanggit ko kanina. And Associate Justices, mixed or both Filipino and American. Okay? So, this is appointed by the President of the United States pa rin. Okay? On October 3, 1916, elections were held for the new Philippine legislature. It was formally inaugurated on October 16, 1916. Sergio Osmeña was elected Speaker of the House of Representatives sa lower house, and Manuel L. Quezon became President of the Senate. Okay. Senate President. Okay. Next, the Wood-Forbes Mission by General Leonard Wood and Governor General W. Cameron Forbes. Ito yung mga namuno sa Philippines before. Okay, so Forbes stayed in the Philippines for 4 months. October 1921, the mission submitted its report to the President that the Filipinos were not yet prepared for independence in U.S. And U.S. should not yet grant independence to the Philippines. Yun ang kanilang feedback doon sa President ng U.S. Na hindi pa daw ready ang mga Pilipino. Okay, na 100% pamunuan ng government system sa Pilipinas. So, Osrock's mission came in November 1931. The Philippine legislature sent a mission to the United States to work for the passage of an independence law. Okay, tinatrabaho na nila yung law na magbibigay ng full independence sa Philippines. Okay? U.S. Senator Harry B. House filed an independence bill in the U.S. Congress with U.S. Congressman Hare and U.S. Senator Cutting as co-sponsors. So sila yung nagtrabaho ng independence law ng Pilipinas. So the bill was approved in December 1902 but President Herbert Hoover vetoed the bill that time. Okay? Pero hindi sila tumigil. The law's provisions on trade relations were disadvantage to the Philippines. Ito yung mga nakikita nila bakit hindi ginrant. He objected the provision limiting the immigration of Filipinos to the US. He also objected to the retention by the US of military bases in the Philippines. Osrox claimed that the Hair House Cutting Act was the best independence law that the Filipinos could obtain from the US. On October 17, 1933, the legislature rejected the Hair House Cutting Act. The US Congress enacted a new independence bill sponsored by Senator Millard Tydings McDuffie. Okay, and Representative John McDuffie or yung tinatawag nating Tydings McDuffie Law. This is signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt on March 24, 1934. So ito na yung nagbigay ng full independence law sa Pilipinas. Okay? So last part of our discussion, the period since independence. So after the country regained the independence in 1946, the support for scientific research and development through education was continued. Several state and even private universities and colleges were established or reconfined since then, supervised by the Department of Education and Culture. Small portion of college graduates are engaged in agriculture, science, and engineering. Okay, opportunities on these fields, longer periods of study, and their non-affordability for the public. Okay, so mababa pa yung ating employment, no? Due to increased learning institutions in the country entailed the birth of various science agencies of the government. So nung tayo ay nag-grant, no, yung full independence sa Pilipinas, ito na yung mga achievements ng mga Pilipino na namuno sa government natin before. So nakapagtayo sila ng Institute of Science, Institute of Nutrition, dati mga institute, no, ngayon department na to. Science Foundation of the Philippines, Commission on Volcanology. Okay? So Bell Mission of US recommended that the Philippines systematically explore its natural resources kasi nga mayaman tayo sa natural resources. Kaya yun yung sinasabi ng mga Amerikano na pagtuunan natin ng pansin. Okay? But local industries in our country lack basic technical information, experimental works were designated, and scientific researchers had low national budget allocation. That's why nahihinder yung researches and yung researches pagdating sa mga natural resources natin. Now, Science and Technology, former Institute of Science, was created. This agency was born to address the problem of the country in terms of scientific researches. Kasi nga, ang goal nila pa rin is ma-explore yung natural resources natin. The role of this agency is to improve the industrial activities and encourage technological development. Na ngayon ay DOST na yan. So ito yung kanyang naging history kung paano naging DOST yan. The Congress enacted this Act RA 2067 creating the National Science Development Board or NSTB. So sila yung responsible sa paggawa ng mga science development policies and coordinating activities various science institutions. So the responsibilities of NSTB was later on expanded. So NSTB was further recognized, naging NST Asia or National Science and Technology Authority na merong apat na sangay: PICARD, PSHRD, PCHRD, and NRCP. Okay? Ang PICARD, ang focus niyan is researches tungkol sa agriculture and resources. Ang PSHRD, pagdating sa industry and energy. Ang PCHRD sa health. Ang NRCP naman ay sa lahat ng researches na ginagawa sa Philippines. Okay? So, because of various R&D councils, this increases the number of Philippine science institutions, provided opportunities for local science manpower to conduct researches. The National Network of Centers of Excellence in the Basic Sciences was then established to to further improve science and technology in the country and its manpower. So nadagdagan pa siya ng 6 new institutes. Institute of Physics, Geological Sciences, Natural Science Research, Chemistry, Biology, Mathematical Sciences. Now, in January 1987, by the virtue of EO 128, the NSTA was elevated to full cabinet level, or yung tinatawag natin ngayon mas kilala na Department of Science and Technology, para ma-meet yung increasing demands pa na pangailangan natin about science and technology development. Okay? So, these are the Philippine inventions na Pinoy mismo ang lumikha. Number 1, Miss Fedel Mundo of the one of the alumni of the University of the Philippines College of Medicine. Siya naka-imbento ng incubator. Okay? So, this is an apparatus used to maintain environmental conditions suitable for a newborn baby. Okay, parang basket lang siya that time. Next, Gregorio Y. Zara. He was the inventor of the first video phone. Okay? A two-way television video phone na nakikita mo na, nakausap mo pa siya. Okay? So, next, Agapito Flores, the fluorescent lamp. Daniel Dinshel, water-powered car, pero hindi naman to siya nag-succeed sa kanyang development. Eduardo San Juan, the lunar rover. Okay. But unfortunately, San Juan, however, was not listed as the inventor of the moon buggy in American scientific journals. It said that the vehicle was designed and constructed by a group of space engineers in Poland. The moon buggy is attributed to Polish inventor. So, hindi na-attribute sa kanya yung invention niya na yun. Next is Diosdado Banatao, the GUI or the Graphical User Interface. This is a chip. Okay? Angel Alcala, the AI or Artificial Coral Reef. Julian Banzon, Alternative Fuel. Mark Loinaz, one-chip video camera. Roberto Del Rosario, karaoke. And Narciso Musuela, yung naka-invento ng super kalan. Okay? So, that ends our discussion of colonization and period since independence. Tapos na natin i-discuss yung kabuuan ng chapter 2. Okay? Thank you for listening.